Adios.
Oh, come on, man.
You know, it's not often that I get to use Gestapo and good news in the same sentence, but I am happy to report that that guy has been relieved of his duties. But we need to call out and talk about both what he did and also what relieved of his duties does and doesn't mean. And we also need to explore why that guy got fired, but this ICE agent in DC who dropped his gun and then proceeded to point it at onlookers in rush hour traffic didn't get any kind of reprimanding or punishment for his complete inadequacy, despite our brave fascist stormtrooper losers allegedly being held to the highest professional standards. And look, I know this will be hard to watch. I actually don't even know if YouTube will allow me to play most of the footage I'm about to try to show you. But this is more important than ever to talk about. So get loud, get vocal, get mad, and subscribe to Really American to help us fight back and bring attention to this. Because if MAGA can cancel, dox, and send death threats to people for simply disliking Charlie Kirk, I think the least we can do to push back on the left is to show the true colors of these fascist pigs and put pressure on someone to hold them accountable for their actions. We'll break down this poor family's plight in just a second, but Jesus Christ, just look at this.
Pull her away. Pull her away.
Suerte. Suerte, señora. Suelta a la niña. 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 No estoy haciendo nada. Quédate aquí. No estoy haciendo nada.
That child is being shoved up against a wall while her father's being ripped away from her. Oh, how pro-life of you. Oh, how pro-children. But no, folks, MAGA needs to protect the women as well, right?
Adios. 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 Oh, come on, man.
The fact that this is happening alone is abhorrent, but the fact that an ICE agent can commit such blatant violence with impunity is even worse. And yes, he got relieved of his duty. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is far from a one-off incident. And I'm so sick of the left versus right violence bullshit because look at how MAGA morons are spinning this online. This guy posted this video and said, watch, illegal alien desperately holds on to his wife and kids as they resist his arrest by masked ICE agents outside immigration courts in New York City. Agents are able to wrestle him away and escort him down the stairs to a processing center. This piece of shit goes on. Elad Eliyahu, a White House correspondent, do with that info what you will, says the hysterical wife of the detained alien follows around and confronts the ICE agent who repeatedly tells her adios, then two-hand pushes and shoves the woman to the ground in front of her children. Hysterical wife? This is some high-level misogynistic reply. Shame on you for promoting this. He's in immigration court, cowards in masks, ripping this man away in front of his children and then assaulting his wife. ICE is rot. And shame on the New York Times here too. I don't know if this is just because they couldn't get his name, but they named the woman that got shoved to the ground, but don't name the ICE agent. ProPublica identified the woman. I don't see this guy's name anywhere. And then a spokesperson for ICE said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. No, it's not. No, it is not. Okay? This is exactly the behavior of ICE. And she goes on, our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. She then declined to elaborate when asked if the officer had been suspended or fired, saying, quote, that's being determined pending investigation. Who the hell is in charge of that investigation? This incompetent asshat who dropped his gun because you guys hire only the best, then proceeds to point it at a crowd of people. I don't even know if I can show this video. I'm going to leave it playing here like this while I explain the story. I mean, just listen to how this starts. Like, the guy is on the ground, screaming for help.
Help me!
This guy's got his knee on his neck. You can see the gun here. He tries to holster it in his waistband. And then right here, he reaches for it, drops his gun, and immediately picks it up and points it at bystanders. An ICE agent dropped a pistol, then briefly pointed it at onlookers during a chaotic arrest made in the middle of a busy intersection this week, a viral video shows. The scene played out Wednesday morning in Hyattsville, Maryland, just 7 miles northeast of the White House, according to the local photographer who says he recorded the clip during rush hour. ICE has not released any details about the arrest and did not respond to a request for comment. However, a nearly 10-minute long video captured by the photographer has been shared thousands of times on social media. U.S. Gestapo without masks, this time destroying lives. Who are these people? Disgusting. Is this proper gun handling procedure? The officer who dropped the pistol kept it in his hand for the remainder of the video, ignoring pleas from onlookers to put the gun down. Bystanders yelled at the arresting officers and taunted the agent who had his pistol drawn. One man could be heard yelling, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me? Go ahead, shoot me, go ahead." Cars can be seen passing through the traffic light as the scene unfolds. Eventually, those in the lanes blocked by the officers began laying on their horns, adding to the chaos. The man being arrested pleaded with officers throughout the video, at one point repeatedly calling out, "I love America and I love you." At one point, he said that he was born in DC. And when you just throw billions of dollars at an agency like this, that, by the way, was born out of the Patriot Act and post 9/11, DHS came about after 9/11. ICE is a part of that. The irony that stemmed us funding our own domestic terrorist organizations. And so what the these are our brave heroes that are supposed to be held to the highest standard, and we're only bringing in the best, we're only hiring the best? People who can't even de-escalate, and we're giving them guns, we're giving them body armor, masks to shield their identities. But no, the left are the violent ones. The left are the problem. Get off your high horse and go to hell, MAGA. This is the problem. You are the problem. And your complete lack of human decency, empathy, Christian values, and your willfully blatant, blissful ignorance of what is actually going on. ICE is paying Palantir $30 million to build Immigration OS, a surveillance system to track immigrants' movements, which we all know, and the government has unfettered access to all of our data. All they do is good things, right? Remember the Patriot Act? Remember the NSA? Remember Edward Snowden? Speaking of which, here's Ronan Farrow explaining exactly what the is going on.
Imagine spyware that can break into your phone without you clicking a link or a file or doing anything at all. Just getting a message can be enough. Once your phone is infected, your data, even messages on encrypted apps, can be read and copied. That kind of spyware, using what's called zero-click exploits, is a reality. In fact, it's a booming multi-billion-dollar industry. I'm Ronan Farrow. I've reported on spyware for years. Let me tell you about the newest US government contract to buy this kind of tech and why watchdog groups are alarmed. The spyware is called Graphite, a tool from an Israeli company, Paragon Solutions, founded by a former prime minister and military intelligence veterans. Earlier this year, Apple had to rush out an emergency patch after investigators at the Canadian watchdog group Citizen Lab found graphite had been used in Europe to hack journalists. Also this year, WhatsApp warned nearly 90 people worldwide they'd been hacked. In 2024, I was one of several reporters that looked at how ICE had quietly signed a $2 million contract with Paragon, reportedly to use graphite. That work was paused by the Biden administration over human rights concerns. But just days ago, the Trump administration lifted the pause. Now, sometimes I hear people argue, if I have nothing to hide, why should I worry about this? Well, because spyware has a long history of being used to target journalists, activists, and political opposition members. Innocent bystanders sometimes get their sensitive data swept up too. Watchdog groups have even repeatedly linked spyware to acts of violence. I have sources around this company, Paragon. They claim their tech is less intrusive than competing solutions, and they say they're just selling law enforcement tools to governments and trying to minimize abuses. Paragon even told Arets that it actually cut ties with the Italian government after it failed to investigate Citizen Lab's findings. But the truth is, sensitive surveillance tools rarely stay limited to their intended targets. I have heard so many big spyware companies claim to me that their tech can be restricted to legitimate use. And time again, we see those same tools abused. In practice, spyware chills free speech, discourages whistleblowers, makes journalists and even everyday people think twice before speaking out, especially when we have no transparency about how a government will or won't use it. Civil liberties groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Technology are warning. Giving ICE, an agency already accused of due process abuses, access to military-grade spyware could mean surveillance of immigrants, activists, and journalists here at home. You can check out more of my reporting on the spyware industry in The New Yorker, or watch my film about it, Surveilled, on HBO. And if you want oversight and safeguards on how this technology is used, you can contact your political representatives.
So look, I apologize if how I come off in some of these videos offends you or makes you uncomfortable, but guess what? It is time to be uncomfortable. It's been time. This type of violence should not be tolerated from anyone, whether they're a MAGA right-wing Christian nationalist with a sniper rifle, a deranged lunatic, a Luigi Mangione, but especially from federal agents and our government. What the hell happened to the don't tread on me, to the no government overreach? The right is pathetic, proudly propping up their pedo president, condemning left-wing violence while sending death threats and doxing people, and statistically contributing 70% to the political violence, which I'm sure is higher given this crap. I'm so done with this shit, and I will not rest until we defund this terrorist organization and redistribute that money to giving our citizens healthcare, providing students with free school lunches. You know, the radical left socialist things that make MAGA oh so afraid. Thanks for watching, folks. If you give a shit, please support the work we're doing here. Be good to yourself, be good to your communities, be safe, protect yourself, and show a little love, because God knows this world needs some of it. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you in the next one.